Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I have taken the longest break so far. Anyway, not the point. In today's video, I am going to be using these Brustro pencils. I got these in October on sale, but I never actually got a chance to work with them, so I just want to review them. So these pencils, they're actually very affordable brand in India. Talking about the material, it's wax based, and while I've also observed that polychromos pencils and all these other pencils which are oil based tend to give you more detailed look, I'm just gonna test out these wax texture ones and see how that works. I think because they're wax based, it makes them slightly cheaper. My ADHD kicked in one morning and I decided to sort out all the colors. This is not how it looked like when I opened it. The pencils are also quite sturdy and thick. I got this sketchbook from the same brand, Brustro, and it has like 200 GSM paper, which is kind of nice for someone who likes to erase a lot. Allow me to show you some texture before I move to the main reference. I know I'm excited too. I'm gonna put a light stroke like you do with like a regular pencil on paper, and I'm going to slowly shade this color evenly, which is the first layer. I'm not exactly pressing too hard, and the strokes look like it was done with like a regular pencil. Now I'm gonna go in with the same color and on top of it and create the second layer just to test out the pigmentation. And let me tell you, it's highly pigmented. Let's go in with like an even lighter shade to test out further pigmentation. Light colors tend to not have that much pigmentation, but oh my god, this is also nicely pigmented. Brustro, you did not disappoint. Next thing is blending out two colors. Let me just put two colors on paper in the opposite direction. I'm not exactly pressing too hard. Now going back with the light color, I'm going to try to blend the two out at the center and gradually overlap the colors. This is how blending is usually done with pencils. I figured that out today as well. It is safe to say that the blending is relatively easy and you can layer lighter colors on top of the darker colors. This is something that I observed. Now, if you want an even smoother blend, you can take the white, which is, I don't think it's non-pigmented because it tends to lighten up the base colors, but it actually does smoothen out the rest of the colors. You can see that for yourself. I never thought I'd have a crush on an animated character, but here you go. Here is the reference that I found on Pinterest. She is hot. I actually did not go for the regular pencils because I was strictly testing out these color pencils. So I used the lighter shade and I sketched out the face. But in case you do go ahead and use the regular pencils, make sure that you erase like darker strokes because they might show up later on top of the colors and you don't want that. I'm going to use the Loomis method to sketch that out. I have done a video on it too. Link is in the bio and up here. Now, starting off with pressing lightly the base color. This is also my first time working with it, so I'm not pressing too hard. Now, as I'm like confident with the placement and the ratios, I'm gonna take a darker color and sketch out different features like the eyes, the shape of the nose, and the lip. They actually did feel slightly different than working with regular pencils. They have a wax texture and you can feel it. I don't know why, but my ADHD kicked in and I was so curious to test out the black. Oh my god, this thing is pigmented. For the first layer of shading, I'm actually doing nothing in specific. I'm just picking out this color, which is basically the skin color. I'm just gonna put lighter strokes in certain areas while at the same time I'm also preserving the highlights. Next part is drawing some shadows, pressing slightly harder, slowly building up pigmentation as I'm going because I have to layer more colors on top of it. Also, I'm testing how the two colors blend and create this new shade. I'm just gonna continue to keep going darker and darker and darker, just like most of the jokes that I made. I started watching the show and this girl blew up the building like the first episode and I'm already hooked. You can see that as I'm working with darker colors, I have to press even more harder. Layering is good. I'm also seeing that there is no breakage of lead, no matter how hard I'm pressing. I don't know what material they have used, but it's quite strong. And I've also noticed that the whole process is very time consuming. Now I understand why pencil color art is very expensive. Bro, look at that. You can see that the area surrounding the eye is actually pretty dark. I think this girl did not sleep. Knowing her notorious ways, I'm not surprised. The same thing I want to do with the eyes. I'm going to start off with the light color and then I'm going to gradually build up colors. Like pick colors from my palette and try to create the shades similar to the ones that I see on the reference. And preserve the whites. Guys, do not forget to preserve your whites. You can notice that so far I've actually not blended out anything. I'm just layering different colors at different areas. With the lips, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing. I'm taking out this raspberry shade and I'm gonna put the light stroke of this color. Working with these pencils is the same as working with acrylic colors or any other medium because you can layer different colors on top of each other and then you put shadows, you preserve the areas of highlights. The only difference is that when you're working with it is that you're working with a much more sharper tip and it takes forever. Maybe I can use my pencils to draw smaller artworks. Now that I think about it, I think after a point of time I can understand why blending out certain areas gets boring because I'm the type of person who cannot stick to one particular artwork for a long period of time. I have commitment issues. But at the same time, I think if you want to make hyper-realistic paintings and sketches, I think these pencils are perfect. Anyway, I find myself using black a lot. I was not expecting that. And this is something that you should actually not do with any other medium, especially watercolors. Here in this reference, it adds a lot of contrast and makes the edges look very sharp. The next thing, I'm gonna move to the hair and draw the closest thing that I see, starting off with a lighter shade. I think my version looks more like the younger version of Jinx. Our skin is a mix of light blue and grey as well at certain areas, so I'm just gonna add those colors as well, randomly. The hair has like 1 billion colors. Even though you can't see them, they're all just blended out nicely here. So I'm just gonna pick up tons of blues and violets and just try to create something closer to the reference. I love her hair, by the way. If you're still confused, wait for the slower version. It will be out in like 2 days. Here you can see me lay the purple on top of the blue. I'm pressing really hard. After a point, I think the pigmentation almost like disappears. So I shift to black for darker areas. Now let's do the blending with more aqua-ish like color. I like blending with like neutral colors, the colors that are in between the light and the dark. Not exactly very light, but yeah, it adds contrast and at the same time you don't lose saturation. I'm going to repeat the same thing in the clothes as well, layering and layering until paper disappears. For those of you who don't know, just like me, burnishing is a technique where you layer and layer pencils until you cannot add any more color on top of it. And as a result, there's a waxy sheen added on top of it. To achieve this, I think you should work from light to dark. You can apply a lot of pressure to the last layer, to the point where the pencil breaks. Yes, I think the fun part about these pencils was not being able to mix the colors pre-handed like on the palette. So I had to actually create colors on the paper, like in my final artwork. That is why it is very important to have pigmented colors. The colors where you can layer lighter colors on top of darker colors. I also have alcohol markers I need to test out. Some people do that. They put alcohol markers to cover up larger areas and then they put pencil on top of it. It saves the time actually. There is a lot of detailing in her tattoo work and I'm going to go ahead and replicate that. And wow, she's looking feisty here. She has those muscles, just like me. Oh, I wish. This artwork that I made is actually not very big either. You can see it's quite small. Maybe in future I'll create bigger artworks with these. And like I said, a slower version will be up in 3 days. As I'm finally happy with the colors, I'm gonna take the white to blend out certain areas and finally use this white pen which has white ink. The white pencil color was just not doing it. And there you go. Here's the final sketch. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the longer version and more tutorials incoming. If you want more content like this and if you want me to work with these pencils even more, let me know in the comments below and I'll try to follow through. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye.